From as far back as I can remember, I have felt the need and desire to learn all that I can about ancient Egypt. I feel as though Egypt and its rich history are a part of my soul. My keen interest in Egypt is why I am standing here today in front of all of you to discuss this fascinating topic. Have you ever thought about what it would have been like for you to live during ancient Egyptian times? A time that was well before Christianity came into being, where massive temples were created to worship gods and goddesses, and the Egyptian pharaohs ruled supreme. The ancient Egyptian civilization was one of the oldest and most powerful in the world, dating back over 3,000 years. The Egyptians believed that Egypt was the center of the universe and that no other civilization could rival their own. Theirs was a proud and a fierce civilization, where pharaohs were treated like the deities they worshipped. Religion and the afterlife went hand in hand and were an integral part of ancient Egyptian life. As such, many gods and goddesses were worshipped through an Egyptian's lifetime as a way to curry favor and allow for a beautiful afterlife. Royal Egyptian tombs were filled with food, grains, wine, water, furniture, and other such items necessary for them to take on their journey into the afterlife. It was believed that they would be given another opportunity to be reborn and live again, this time amongst the gods and goddesses. In looking at ancient Egyptian architecture, it appears that we, in today's society, are always looking to build things on a bigger, grander scale, whether it be skyscrapers, churches, bridges, houses, and the like. Are we, like the ancient Egyptians, trying to prove something to ourselves and others as to how high we can go and how big we can build things? What was the culture of ancient Egypt? It was ancient Egyptian architecture, such as homes and monuments, palaces and temples, language and writing, and ancient Egyptian religion. Two examples of exquisite ancient Egyptian architecture would be the Great Pyramids of Giza and the Great Sphinx, both of which still exist today and are a testament to the people who spent years building them. In ancient Egypt, there were two types of temple architecture that existed: cult temples and funerary temples. Cult temples showcased all of the images of the gods that were worshipped there, while funerary temples were shrines to deceased kings and queens where their worshippers could go to pay homage to them. Both such temples were beautifully decorated inside and out in traditional Egyptian style. Most domiciles were modestly built with just a few rooms and no indoor bathroom facilities, while high-ranking officials lived in villas, complete with indoor bathrooms. Palaces, of course, were extremely opulent and large, having such things as harem suites, kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, and grand halls. Egyptian is one of the oldest known languages in the world. The ancient Egyptians spoke an Afro-Asiatic language that is long extinct. The Egyptian language can be divided into 5 distinct periods: Old Egyptian, Middle Egyptian, Late Egyptian, Demotic, and Coptic. With respect to ancient Egyptian writing, hieroglyphics were used when inscribing monuments, tombs of kings and queens, and temple walls, while cursive hieratic was used on such things as pottery and papyrus. The Western civilization has certainly been influenced by the ancient Egyptian culture in the way that language and writing has evolved over thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians really revolutionized and paved the way for how language and the art of writing could be enhanced and changed over time by many other cultures. Religion played an extremely key role in ancient Egyptian times. The Egyptian pharaohs were thought to be intermediaries between the regular masses and the gods. Ancient Egyptians believed that a spectacular afterlife existed, where every good person deserved to exist. Egyptian religion changed a great deal over the more than 3,000 years in which it was practiced. Through it all, the rulers of the land made sure that religion stayed in the forefront of society. Egyptian gods took on many different forms. Two very important gods happened to be the god of the sun, Ra, and the god of the underworld, Osiris. As the ancient Egyptians were true believers in a solar cycle, light and dark, I believe this is why Ra and Osiris were so vital and well thought of. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs and the general masses thought so highly of their gods that they took great pains to ensure that religious-based funerary monuments were created for when each pharaoh would pass on into the afterlife and live amongst the gods. Many religious scrolls written on papyrus were also included as part of the funerary rites. Having numerous gods and goddesses to worship gave the ancient Egyptians an array of gods and goddesses to choose from, as each one represented something different. To the ancient Egyptians, their culture was so important, and it has continued to play a key role in the Egyptians' cultural evolution over thousands of years. As part of the cultural landscape, the burial rituals and customs of the ancient Egyptians showcased how they viewed death, not as an end to life, but to life eternal.